So before second semester of my freshman year, I wasn't really interested in doing theater because one, I thought the kids were going to be weird and uncanny. Two, thought it was going to be too hard for me. And three, because I was scared of being in front of people. Ooh, so scary. So it did take a lot of convincing from my friends, my brother, and even myself to an extent, but I decided to give it a try in the end. For this year's musical, we did Adam's Family, the musical that I have not watched even to this day. Auditions happened mid January, so I waited and waited and waited, and then it was the day of the auditions. There were two parts of the auditions: one, the acting part, and two, the singing part. Now, the acting part wasn't that bad, it was just a couple of dance scenes from the musical we were doing. Now, the singing part was weird. Now, before the auditions, my brother told me you're just going to sing part of a song of your choice for 1 minute, someone will judge you, and then you will leave. Now, when I went in there, he said, okay, we are going to measure your vocals, and then you sing your song. And I'm like, brother, in the most respectful way, you're a moron. So he measured my vocals, and with not knowing what to do, I just did la 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 noises, but try to match the instrumental so it can possibly measure my voice. I didn't know what to do. It was horrible. Now, the actual singing part wasn't that bad. I did decent for how it was, and that was that. 3 or 4 days later, I got casted as an ancestor, which was fine, but I digress. Now, here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna go by months of late January all the way to, I would say, early April. Each month is going to be summarized into one big whole section. Any people, unless I mention my brother, will be named based on the role they were chosen for that musical. So hang on tight, we're going for a ride.
This match will get red hot. You're up!
The start of it was us learning the songs and beginning the choreography on the first few scenes of the musical. For me, I was going to get used to the fact that this isn't for some grade and that I have to lock in to perform a good show for people. My brother especially told me this after the first day since he knew I would be a little bit bland and new about this. I believe when I started to do the choreo, I was locked in because the first song of the Addams Family musical is one of the most important parts of the play since it tells people what to expect when watching this, in a way. So, I did what I needed to do as an ancestor, and for the first time, I sucked at it. Yeah, I wasn't some big shot who knew what they were doing. I was really lost about the first song. But even then, I still tried my best. Later in the month, they were doing other scenes that I wasn't included in since, again, I was a background character, so I wasn't really that important. So I didn't have to show up. And I think that's all for January. On to February. First few weeks, I didn't have to show up again because I wasn't including those scenes they were learning, so I was just chilling. After that, I went to practices that included mostly everyone, if not the ancestors overall, and just like last time, I still sucked at it, but I was practicing what I need to do, so I would eventually get better at it. At this time, I also became friends with two people we'll call Caveman and Pilgrim. That's the ancestors they were chosen for, by the way. And the funny thing is, they were twins in senior year. That you don't see that every day. But even with that being said, they were still very funny, chill, and gracious people to hang out during practices, and I'd say I enjoyed my time with them. Other than that, the ancestors overall were just a hit and miss. It felt like everyone was united, but divided at the same time. Even with that being said, we still did all our parts, and we were still learning how to make this show great. Mid-February, we reviewed all of Act 1, so by the time February ended, we were supposed to know everything about Act 1, and that was the case for me, so it was all good. We also started a lot of Act 2, so we were picking up the pace and getting everything done. That's all I have to say about this month. Let's move on to March. This month was weird, to say at the least. We had 2 weeks before spring break for my school, so we had to finish Act 2 and then review everything about the act before we went on a spring vacation. Now, it wasn't a total mess, but it was very fast paced for me. But I didn't have a choice to stop. So I kept catching up with everyone and getting everything down. Then once we were done learning about Act 2, we reviewed it, did a full run through, and then it was still a little bit messy, but we just needed to keep practicing to get it all down. Spring break happened, and then when school started up again, we had a sub director since our main director was out in London for, I think, some family time. So, even with that being said, we still did what we needed to do. Since we didn't have the main director, it was mostly up to the cast and the crew to make sure we were staying focused and in character for this show. I also noticed that there were snarky comments about parts that were either, I would say, not true or just disrespectful in general. It mainly came from the ancestors, but that doesn't matter now. Yeah, that's it for March. On to the last month, which is obviously April. This musical only had 1 week of practice and 2 weeks of performances. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, our first week. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, our second week. The week and days before performances were more days of just reviewing and practicing to get in near perfection. The most frightening and boring days was Tech Week. And every theater kid in musicals and plays knows the pain of Tech Week. Tech Week consists of staying overnight, I would say about like 8 to 9 depending on, the school you go to and their schedule, and just waiting for your cues and getting everything set up as if you were doing a live performance. And by golly, was it so painful to deal with. Just waiting and waiting for something to happen, and then repeating what we've done was so boring. Yet, it was worth it for the audience that will soon see such a masterpiece. After Tech Week, we did our live performances. Not gonna lie, I was nervous. Really nervous, in fact. But I didn't have time to be nervous. I had to put on a good performance, so when it was the ancestors' turn to present themselves, we went up. And by golly, was it weird being on stage. Instead of you looking at the performers, you were the performer looking at the audience to see if they were enjoying the show or not. So as we went on, we did our thing, performed our songs, and overall the audience loved it. After all said and done, we finally finished the first night, and after the show, walking all over to the people who saw it and seeing and hearing how much they liked the show was so heartwarming and exciting. Now the rest of the nights were basically a repeat. We did our thing, audience loved it. Some of my friends even came to see this, and they said they loved my acting and how I presented myself as an ancestor, which all felt so amazing and special to me. To think I can perform and give people a good time for being me up there was so surreal, and I couldn't be more thankful to be in it. Final night happened, and we did one last show to end all the hard work we did. After that, it was settled, and it finally ended. After that, a few weeks later, the cast party happened. I said goodbye to the musical I once loved, and still love to this day. And I can't wait to see what we're doing for the next one. Huh? They already picked one? Oh, alright, bet. Let's see. What is the next one gonna be?